There's few opportunities better than what is going on in HBar right now in 2023, given this latest piece of news that I'm going to discuss with you in this video. As well as that, I'm going to show you my pretty exciting price prediction for later on in 2023 for HBar. So hit that like button and let's get into this video. Now guys, before we dive into the latest news that's coming out about HBar and why we can anticipate potentially some very exciting moves from HBar, I want to understand what is going on in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin drives the market. You need to pay attention to this because it's really going to help us to identify what to plan and do next. As you can see, Bitcoin has been doing this kind of move up towards the upside. We are still in an uptrend, and you can still see that we have had a nice pullback towards the downside. Every time previously we've had these pullbacks though, guys, look at what happens next. I personally am anticipating that Bitcoin is going to have a solid move up somewhere between 30 and 35k quite soon. And if that happens, then it's all plain sailing for pretty much crypto in general, at least until the end of this year. We're going to see very big pumps in the likes of HBar, Casper, XLM, whatever it is. However, there is also a big argument to say that maybe we could see a further move towards the downside. There's tons of information over on Twitter about people saying that Bitcoin's oversold and that's why it's going to pump on the RSI, and there's loads of other people saying, oh, we're not ready for it because of the macro environment and Bitcoin's going to dump to like 20k, sub 20k, maybe even lower, who knows. Some people saying like 9k, but we'll see. I personally don't believe that, but if that happens, the altcoins, including HBar, will bleed really, really hard, okay? If we see Bitcoin have a substantial drop, talking 10, 20, 30%, then you will see HBar, along with every other crypto, basically getting punished towards the downside. So, knowing that, what is going on in HBar? Well, on a bigger charts time frame, you can see that we are at a very interesting level for HBar. You can see we have previously established support in this area before that pump, kind of mid-bull market before, and now we can see twice we've been rejected off this area. And we were substantially rejected here, okay? First time here, and then the second time here. Now, this green area represents a buy zone for HBar. Now, if we anticipate that we can get here again, then we got a good buying opportunity. But I actually don't think that we're going to get that opportunity just yet. However, knowing that in the past, we've had HBar being worth around 880% more than it is right now, what we really need to be doing, knowing that Bitcoin could really go either way, depending on whichever way the people who pretty much control the price want to move it, because that's effectively what's happening, we just need to realize that actually we just need to buy coins that have a solid future, and that we'll see a solid future emerging sooner than others. What does that mean? Well, I've told you in the past, if you're subscribed, that different coins will pump at different times. What we're doing right now is identifying the coins that will pump first. We've already seen a bit of that action coming out of HBar recently. You can see that in the past few weeks, we've had these kind of big moves up towards the upside. Probably not so clear on the weekly. If I move into a daily, we can see that HBar has been having a pretty good run of it recently, despite this kind of recent big pullback, which we saw the other day. We can see Casper having pretty good runs as well. If we look into XDC, we can see similar stuff happening in XDC. XDC, HBar, XLM, XLP, all of these FedNow ISO 20022 coins are starting to see some very interesting kind of volatility. And that's why HBar is very interesting right now. And if we look at this piece of news over on Twitter from Nebuchadnezzar, okay, I think I've got that right, which is a little video here. You can check this out. I'm not going to play it right now. From the co-founder of Hedera, Mance Harmon, talking about the value of Drop, which is a partner of Hedera, who've basically been recognized as the official FedNow partner. Okay, this was very bullish for HBar. That's why we saw a big push. But you know, he's then going in and explaining in this why you're not going to see immediate results from this partnership. Now, obviously, the good news causes a bounce in the market. People will take profits, it starts to crash back down again. It's just the way it works. I talked about this in videos. When we see those big pumps, don't buy into good news. It's the worst thing you can do. You get that good news. It's great if you've been holding it. If anything, maybe take some profits. The price will always come back down, and then you can have another chance, okay? What he's basically saying in this is HBar will massively benefit from that partnership, but it's not going to benefit now because it's going to take time to implement that system. Once that kind of system has been implemented in the future, you're going to see a lot more HBar being taken out of circulation because of all the transactions and things that are happening on HBar, and that's very bullish. But in the shorter term, HBar, unfortunately, is going to be moved around with the rest of the crypto market because there's just not the interest there right now. Many people are not watching videos in crypto right now because they were a couple of weeks ago when everything was pumping, but right now they just don't care. But if you're watching, I commend you because this is the time to be watching and paying attention. So we know that there's very exciting things happening. So what I want to talk about really is we need to be identifying coins right now that have a very good chance, if not the best chance, of getting back to all-time high and potentially beyond. If you're waiting for like 50 or 100x on HBar, whatever it is, then you're not really doing it right now, okay? That's obviously fine and it could happen, but what we want to identify is coins that have a good chance of getting back to that all-time high. 800-900%, guys, is not to be sniffed at. If you can put in $1,000 and turn it into $8,000 or $9,000 in the next year or so, then you've got a really good opportunity to take some of that money out and put it into altcoins that are new and you have never even heard of because they haven't even launched yet, that could do 100x, 1000x. And then we put in $1,000 and it does 1000x. Well, guys, there's $1 million right there for you, okay? And the more money you can make earlier on in these likes of HBar and the coins I think are going to be pumping first, Casper being another, the better. What we're seeing right now, however, on the HBar chart is an ascending wedge. And this towards the upside in conjunction with this rather bearish pattern and the fact that we are now getting rejected would indicate that we potentially might come a little bit lower here. And if that happens for HBar, where are we identifying where it could end up? Well, as you know, we have the kind of ultimate bear scenario. For me, it's down in this area. The next ones of interest are here, where we can see moves coming out of them. And then up here, you can see another one, area of interest. Now, we don't know exactly where it's going to bounce. And if you were to buy in right now, actually you're at, a reasonable discount compared to where we have been before, and knowing that we have potential for 800% towards the upside. That's not financial advice, of course. Go and do your own research. Investing in crypto is risky. You can always see downside as well as you can see upside. All we need to know is if I buy now, am I all right with this potentially happening? If I buy now and it dumps to worst case scenario, I could be down 32%. If I have $1,000 in, I'll be down $300. If, however, I have the ability to buy in here and then buy in here and then buy in here and continue buying in as this keeps happening, then I stand to be in a much better position, because whether this happens and we break beyond this blue line, or this happens and we break down towards this area and then eventually break beyond this blue line, the outcome is the same. It's just how much more money we will make if we have the patience to avoid FOMOing in. I told you not to FOMO in on this, and you can see what happened. Right now, would we consider ourselves to be FOMOing in? Well, we are still hanging on the balance of Bitcoin. The only thing we know for sure is that in the future, HBar is going to be worth more than it is now, and significantly more than it would be if it got down to this level. Why is that? Well, we're starting to print an interesting pattern. Not only do we have this blue pattern here, okay, guys, this blue pattern is obviously a very big line of resistance for HBar. We can see every time we're arriving at this blue line that something significant is happening. And eventually there will be a time in the future that we break this blue line. And in my opinion, that's going to happen sooner, perhaps, rather than what anyone thinks. If it takes a bounce earlier, then I think we're going to be breaking around here sometime October, November, potentially. However, if Bitcoin takes a dump, then maybe early next year we could see something like this. But what I'm anticipating is if it is able to push up to this area here, then we're going to do something very interesting, because this would create a double bottom pattern. You can see double bottom pattern here. Now what we can do in order to take a height of this double bottom, you can see from the top, this neckline here down to the bottom, we then bring that up to the top of that area there, and then we get a identifiable breakout target. Now we're a long way from there right now, guys. Obviously we have to break beyond that blue line, but if we get into that blue line, break out beyond, I think very quickly you could see something like this materialize, and we could see HBar traveling up towards this line, which would be the support area from the middle of that bull market. Now what would that look like for us? From current levels, you're looking at 162% move. It's very interesting as well that this is the target line for this area here. It would make perfect sense. And for those people who are like, oh, the bear market hasn't even started yet, the bear market's going to be happening next year, we haven't had the halving. That might be true, guys. That might be true. But if that is true, I do believe that we're going to see a big move before that, and then we could see this. That would still indicate a bear market. But as I keep telling you, that would also mean that you would sat there and missed out on 180% move in a coin like HBar. 180%, if you put in $1,000, you could be sat with $2,800. This is where we need to be making some smart decisions. And if you're one of those people who've got the time to be writing in the comments like, oh, the bull market's not even started yet, well, you've also got the time to identify that there is also money to be made during the interim, okay? So, up to you guys. It's obviously risky buying in at these levels, but it's much less risky than buying in at these levels up here, which is what most people who are telling me it's a bear market will be end up doing, because eventually it's going to move and it will happen something like this. And, within like a few days, you end up sat looking like 200 or 300% higher, and you're like, oh, I buy in, and then they dump, and then, this happens to them, and they're just not ready for it. I am looking at HBar right now because I identify where we're going in the future with it. It's an exciting project. It's got a big community of people who are very excited by it, and there's lots of transactions that are just waiting to happen. Right now, we're not getting the excitement that we need to have, because I think around 10% of people who actually operate within this bull market or the top of this bull market are really in the space right now. So we can add a huge amount more excitement. You add into that fact, you add into that all the transactions and things that are going to be pulling out the supply. And then guys, we got the perfect storm for HBar. Very exciting. But obviously, make your own decisions on this. Now, right now, if you are in crypto and you're pretty bored because there's not a lot going on, well, personally, I recommend doing lots of research into new things that are available and maybe things that you could invest in that might just sound like good opportunities. This is a sponsored video sponsored by Grape, so do your own research on Grape right now, but I'm quite excited by what's going on with Grape because you can pick up tokens at pre-sale around $46 just by clicking on Buy Grape up here. And at the moment, Grape is also available on Bitmart Exchange, where it's around $150 a token. So that means you could buy Grape for like $46, and when it eventually launches next month, it will be worth around $150 potentially. That's very, very exciting because it means that you're going to get a really good return on investment if everything goes to plan. But it's crypto, it's risky. You need to understand whether or not this is a good project and whether you're interested in buying it. It's not my responsibility, it's yours. What we can do, coming down below, you can see 700,000 transactions per second. If you're very excited by HBar and all these other ones, that's insane, okay? And it works on a very similar way to how HBar and Casper also work, using a direct acyclic graph, which is a DAG. Okay, this allows it to process transactions differently from how a blockchain works. A blockchain just goes block to block. This works by finding out which next block is free and sending different transactions to different areas, kind of like a scatter bomb approach, so that each of these different nodes is able to handle the transactions. And you can see the more nodes you add in, you can see way more transactions get added. This is a very exciting and interesting project because it has a huge amount of hype, given that they have a big amount of funding in order to drive things like sponsored videos and things like that. As much as people don't like it, guys, this is a great way to get your name out there because this is how most people find out about crypto projects. There's loads of videos and information here, and if you go through the link down below, you'll get an additional 10% in tokens if you were to buy, obviously by using your own research, etc. I also made a previous full Grape video, so you can go and check that out. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and you want to find out more about what's going on, then subscribe. Also get into the free Telegram link down below. Love to have you over there. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.